Hey everybody, I just wanted to say, hey, looks like I've got a little bit of an issue already with the green screen, but we can clean that up. How is everybody doing? I can't tell you how excited I am. I really am. This is uh, this is going to be kind of fun. So I want to thank those of you who are here. I really appreciate it. You guys really have made it a lot easier than I thought to get some to get some people to pay attention, and I really do appreciate that. So let's see if we can clean this up just a little bit, and we will start off with something fun. Let's see. Nope, that's just me. Sorry. And ta-da! All right, I got the live chat up here for you guys. I got a little scroll down here. It says thank you, and I really mean that, guys. Thank you very much. First and foremost, today we have a lot to talk about. We have, of course, the Leslie Headland stuff that everybody was all upset about. I personally don't find her terribly offensive. I never thought that. I never thought that she'd get to the point where she would be representing larger properties. Her plays weren't very well received. Um, I mean, they were okay, and she had the one movie that she got made because of Harvey Weinstein, which was the Bachelorette. So it's interesting that when she got involved with the Russian Doll project, the cast and the crew that was put together there was pretty dynamic, to say the least. But anyway, let's move forward a little bit and take a look at her. And yes, the force is Karen. That's right. So probably the most interesting thing was how this was laid out and presented to an audience. I think I think it was presented in exactly the wrong way. I think that we were I don't know. I think we were subjected to some underhanded, under the table kind of shenanigans that Tom and the folks from Midnight's Edge reported. I think that between them and Clownfish, I think they both had a pretty good handle on what was going on. From my early participation in the Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Corporation message boards way back when, and then some of the insider stuff that I delivered in the past. I knew there was a lot of under the table stuff that happened, but in this particular case, I guarantee you this did not go through legal because they would not have been pleased with her background because of the Harvey Weinstein stuff. They wouldn't have been terribly pleased with the probably close to 1,100 Twitter messages that she deleted, I guess is the right way to put that. You did. All right, Apollo Patriot. Yeah, it's you know, she's very memeable. She took the better part of 6 minutes to say like 42 times, I think. So that's an awful lot of comparing one thing to another because you didn't have anything left to say. Like is a filler, just like when I use or any of us do that. It's the looking for the next word. Now, as you get older, like me, you end up in the position where that's part of your processing because you can't get to the next word very easily. You haven't formed the sentence in your head. Or if you're running for president, you can't put together a cohesive sentence. But anyway, I guess the point is this was done outside of the mouse. The mouse did not know this was coming. This was leaked for sure. You ended up with several people that probably weren't even aware that this was coming down the pike from Lucasfilm. So because Disney didn't know this up front, I guarantee you there's quite a bit of anger behind the scenes. If this were the time to get rid of someone like Kathleen Kennedy, it would be now. She would be just shown her retirement at this point. She's definitely not going to get her contract renewed. This show will never be made. I thought it was really funny when Campea was on his show making a fool of himself, as we've all seen thanks to Drunk 3PO. But he was making a fool of himself trying to explain away the female-centric thing that was said. And the thing is if you ask Campea that question, or I guess Az called him Simpia. That's interesting. He could not. If you were asked the question, what do you know about this character? If you know something about this character other than the show is going to be female centric, what do you know about the show? What do you know about the characters? What do you know about any of this? It is female centric. That's the answer to that question. If you knew anything else, it would just be that it was taking place during a different part of the timeline with the things that we're already familiar with. And we've found out that Disney doesn't do that very well. There's all kinds of continuity errors with the Clone Wars series. There's all kinds of problems with the way that was put together after we've already seen all the animatics already. But in this particular instance, when this was presented, we were presented with Star Wars that was female-centric. I think we've already had that. And hail to you, Wes Moody. Thanks for joining us today. You're fantastic. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be on your show. I think I have extended the invite to you as well. It should be sitting in the group chat that we all take part in. But yeah, I see this show and all of the other ones like it not getting made. One of the things that Campea said was there was going to be 3 other shows that were going to, be male-centric. And that's not the way those shows are presented. Also, those shows aren't being made either. Have any of you seen the new Obi-Wan show? I haven't. Have any of you seen the Boba Fett movie or show that they were talking about? No, we got something modified in Mandalorian. So there's one thing that got made. I liken all of this to what happened with Dan and Dave and the spin-offs of the Game of Thrones stuff and everything else that they were possibly involved in. I liken it to them developing series and movies for Disney for Star Wars. And of course, they never did that either. So this is never going to happen. The Force is Karen is never going to happen. And if it does, it definitely will be the net death knell for this franchise. I mean, if it weren't for all of these super fans like myself who just only recently gave up on this, this property would be long gone, because we struggled a little bit with the prequels, or at least I did, because I was around originally when the movie released in '77. I got to see that firsthand in one of the largest theaters in my state, or the largest theater in my state at the time, I believe. I waited in line for that movie through the summer multiple times. And when you saw A New Hope, it was that spiritual thing that there was nothing that had ever been like that before. So when you get to the prequels and you're struck by how uneven some of the acting is, and despite the set pieces and some of the practical stuff and all of the incredible matte paintings that served as the backgrounds and all of the early Star Wars films, the first 3 that we saw, but even going forward, they still had beautiful mattes that were presented as the backgrounds that Star Wars played out on. They're incredible paintings. The the sequel trilogy that Disney put together is just awful in comparison. You know what, I've covered all of this. I've done this with other people like Wes and other people have talked about how empty the new movies felt and how lacking they were in character development and how many opportunities were missed. And West is right. You know, you can never recapture the first time that A New Hope, in A New Hope, where the Star Destroyer is coming over your head and you're a little kid. You're, 6, 7 years old. In that, this is your first big movie. I mean, you've seen a lot of cartoons. You've seen maybe The Wizard of Oz. I was fortunate at a young age to have a VHS in the family, so I got to see a lot of stuff early on. Probably a little bit after that, but the simple fact that Star Destroyer just was coming over your head from behind, chasing the ship. You can't. It's a moment that you can never recapture, and that movie was like that for a lot of people, even poopy people, adult humans who had seen movies hundreds of times, like my dad, who took me, and my uncle, who took me, and that thing, that was just as big a moment for them as it was for the 7-year-old kid sitting next to them. So, but yeah. Anyway, there was no moment like that in any of the sequel trilogy. So there were a couple moments like that were maybe in the prequels. And Back to the Future, that's an excellent movie, Wes. You're 100% right. The Back to the Future movies, they had huge impact, and those were in my formative years. So they were good for many reasons. So yeah, and Apollo Patriot, you're right. They somebody went rogue. There's no doubt about that. I honestly believe that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be shown the door. Happy retirement. Here's some money. Go away. We're going to get some people in here that don't want to push stuff. Yeah. KK is like the Godfather. Yes. Tom. Yeah. Tom. Hopefully, Tom's going to be somebody that joins us today. And if Wes wants to pop on, he's welcome. I know he's a busy guy, but Tom said last night on Flash's show, which was cool. I had to split my attention between that and some other stuff that I really love on YouTube. Man, that's a problem now. Everybody just live streaming at the same time. It's hard. But yeah, that stream was great. And Kathleen Kennedy is incredibly powerful right now. But her power comes out of fear, like you mentioned there, because she has the ability to Me Too people, for sure. You know, she came through Hollywood, serving coffee to her boss. I mean, those were her credentials. She got a lot of traction from other people's hard work. So that's a little frustrating to someone like me. I always feel like you should be promoted to the position that you have the merit for, that you've shown the ability and the skill for. But anyway, yeah, the soundtrack of the Back to the Future films was incredible, wasn't it? Oh man, Huey Lewis and the News. Does anybody else remember who else? Because there was, it's like an Aerosmith. Of course, Aerosmith did so many, had so many contributions to the soundtracks of so many films. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Alan Silvestri. That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, the thing that gets me about this woman possibly getting um, her hands on the franchise is that it'll never be the same, and it's been compromised already. I mean, let's be honest. They haven't been in a position where anything's felt solid for a while. So, wow, I hope this isn't true. Yeah, I hope that's not true. I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure that the Weinstein Group had its share of interesting human beings, but I hope that's not accurate. So um, yeah, let's go from here. Yeah, I did. Yeah, let's see what we can do here. Pretty sure I did that. Sorry, guys, a little inside baseball here. Apparently, I can't send a link for my life because I'm a newbie. Let's see what we got here. Copy. All right, and we do it again. Boom. Oh, you know what? There was an E. How weird is that? Anyway, it is what it is. So that's a boomer moment, guys. I apologize. So, anyway, so if Star Wars is going to suffer from this, it's going to be. I mean, it'll be dead. It'll absolutely be dead. And right now, I want to add to the stream and welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Wes Moody.
Congratulations on 100 subs. Well deserved.
Why, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, it's because of hard efforts, of people like you that made this all possible. So I honestly and truly appreciate all of your support. I mean, you single-handedly helped me lift the profile of one of my videos that I did for fun. So I really appreciated that. So, oh my gosh,
man.
guys.
Happy to help.
Guess who else we get to welcome? Tom from Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, Tom. Hey, you sound like Barry White this morning. All right.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So, Tom, since you guys have been covering this, and I know through your videos, this was definitely something that was done outside of the Disney's closely controlled scope.
Yeah, something fishy if you're talking about the whole female centric. Yeah.
It seems like like I said, you've talked about it several times, different places already, but there's no way she would get past the lawyer mice.
Well, I don't know if it was so much that as because I mean, obviously, the Weinstein thing is a problem, but they would have just not made a deal with her to begin with if it was a deal breaker. The problem, I think, was more so, and this is a lot of it's just theory, obviously, but when Bob stepped down as in his lead role to lead up the head of entertainment or whatever, I think his main goal was going to be to try and clean up Star Wars, because the rumor going around was that Mandalorian was kind of his baby. And because if you remember about a year ago, actually a little more than that now, Bob said, the buck stops with me on Star Wars, and took all the responsibility for what had kind of happened prior to. So I think that was kind of the big thing. And then there was this memo that went out that they were not accepting any more pitches for new shows for this fall season because of the current situation. And anything going forward, they were going to be working on things they already had been in production on or pre-production on. And I think this show got the axe, is what I think happened. And to prevent that, or it was going to get the axe, and to stop that, Leslie and KK probably orchestrated something, because there's a lot of things like, with Leslie deleting a bunch of tweets the night before the announcement was made. It's not an official announcement.
Yep.
There's just all kinds of little fishy things. And then the day after, we start hearing that the Bobs are livid, because, I mean, this puts, both Bobs in a precarious position if they have to go out there and say, oh, no, this was canceled months ago, or this was canceled when the stuff come down because there was going to be no way it was going to be in development in time or something like that. And then he's going to look like a bad guy either way. Like, the only out they have now is to say, no, we're not going to make this show with this chick because obviously she's a liability, which even then they could still throw him to the wolves.
Yeah, I don't think she's long for Hollywood. I mean, I just don't. I think that She comes with a lot of baggage, and if she's going to do underhanded stuff like this or participate in it, I don't think she'll survive.
Oh, this is
but-
just typical Hollywood, man.
Yeah, it's pretty typical.
Basically, if somebody tells you I don't know or something's not going to happen, first thing you do is go to the press, especially if you are like in a situation like this where look at the optics of it. You know, what are they going to do? Cancel this or whatever, or say it's not going to happen? That would make Bob's look really bad. So that's the whole point of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they can back pocket it. They could put it in development forever.
That's possibly what's going to end up happening. I don't think they'll address it at all. I think they'll just leave it hanging out there for months. And then kind of like the whole Ryan Johnson thing, when nobody's thinking about it, they'll do something like, I know sooner or later Ryan Johnson's just going to say, yeah, I just decided I didn't want to make Star Wars movies. I want to do my kind of thing with, Knives Out and that kind of stuff. So it just never kind of came to fruition. So then that'll be the last we hear about it. Like it'll kind of probably be the same thing with this. Like a couple of years down the road, it'll be like, whatever happened to that female-centric Star Wars that was supposed to happen with Leslie Edmund? It just didn't come to fruition. Just kind of they'll end up doing that.
Wes, what do you think?
Yeah, well, see, I'm trying to think of the semantics of the situation, whether or not that would be considered development hell, or if development hell is a term that's reserved for good storytelling, and that this is just politics. What do you think, Tom? Is development hell for only a term used to describe good storytelling that's stuck in purgatory, or will that apply to even crummy stuff like this female-centric bullshit?
Generally, I think development hell is reserved for good children. No, no, I don't know. I mean, it can pretty much apply to just about anything anymore, I think. But I mean, I don't even know if you can consider this in development hell yet. I mean, it's not been officially announced. That'll be another thing they might just hide behind, is like months down the road when it's brought up again, they'll just be like, "Oh, it was never officially announced anyway. It was just a rumor." I mean, this whole situation right now reeks of desperation. Something about it doesn't seem right. I mean, like that one, I can't keep forgetting her name, but who was on John Campia's show. She kind of laid it all out there. It's like, why is it a female-centric show and that's all you tell me? You don't normally start a show off like, this is a male-centric show with, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Like, and she's like, you don't even give me any of the plot. All you tell me is that it's female-centric. Like, okay, that's supposed to, like, make me perk up or something, And that's just kind of it. It was...
Well, they did... Tom, they did say that it was going to be in a similar timeline, not the same timeline as
That's not a plot.
all the other films. No, I know.
No, I know, and they don't understand what plot really is, because you'll sit there and say, "Oh, tell me about this character." Oh, well, this character, he's non-binary. He has a Twitter. He loves to hang out at Pizza Hut or something. That's about the closest thing you'll get to a personality. So, like, all right, so this guy likes pizza. Tell me more about him. I just told you everything about him. It's like, not really.
No. What's his motivation? What great tragedy occurred early on in his life that made him the way he is now? Why? What's his worldview? How what happened during his formative years that also shaped him? Did he lose a grandparent? I mean,
what character growth are we going to see? Yeah, those kind of things. Oh, well, there is no character growth because they're already perfect. It's like, no, that's not a character then.
Yeah, they're perfect, and they're telling everybody else how bad they are.
Exactly, like Mikey Spock.
Oh, I just saw an interview with Frakes about Star Trek Discovery Season 3. That should be interesting. He was complimenting...
I really wish I didn't have to watch it.
Me too. Yeah, I was gonna do... I probably shouldn't... I might not do it, so I might as well talk about it. I was gonna Photoshop Michael Burnham's head on, like, the Good Burger guy, and I was gonna dub over... This is Good Burger. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. I'm a dude. You're a dude. She's a dude. He's a dude. Because she looks like the guy from Good Burger with her dreadlocks.
I think you should still do it.
Yeah, I think I can still do it. Yep.
Well, it's. I think that it's broader than that, though. I think that they don't do stories anymore. Everything that anybody related to Bad Robot has put together has been stolen from everywhere else. Since I only caught a little, of everybody else's clips on Frakes, what did he say specifically about season 3? Wes?
The one that I'm reading right now, I haven't read them all, but from TrekMovie.com, he was talking about, and you can see obviously they have a picture of Frakes. Frakes has obviously gone to the gym, so he's probably going to be in Picard season 2.
He needed to go to the gym. So
yeah, I really did. Here, I'll share you my screen so you can see what I'm seeing.
Oh. All right.
Share screen. He was talking about how Sonequa Martin Green is the bestest actress ever. She's just up there with Patrick Stewart, because Patrick Stewart, he's saying that when he gives Patrick Stewart an instruction, a note to act on, that he's able to incorporate that note into the performance, as where lesser actors and actresses only do the note. So it was interesting. It was a lot of times when people say that, what they're really saying is, yeah, you're only acting the note. It's opposite land. At least that's what I've observed.
Wow.
I could be wrong.
Wow.
But yeah, you can see he's obviously gone to the gym there, right?
Here's the thing: I have a lot of respect for him. Or maybe I'm wrong. I mean, as a director, as somebody who can put things on a screen. So, does he not have story input, or does he share the same politics as all of these other people? I mean, I don't honestly know. Tom?
I'm sorry. What was the question? I got distracted there.
Oh, no problem. Jonathan Frakes, he's an excellent director. I mean, he is. He can put things on the screen very well.
Very good director.
Is he not getting story input, or does he share the politics that are at play here?
Well, first, story input, doubtful. Politics-wise, Frakes has never wore his politics really on his sleeve, from what I could tell. I couldn't tell you what his politics are, and that's probably for good reason, because he probably keeps them to himself.
Yeah.
As far as the Star Trek bit, he's going to toe the company line all the way. He wants to eat. So he's not gonna bite the hand that feeds him. He's not gonna, really badmouth the show. But jumping on the fans, on the other hand, was a first for Frakes. I don't know if
that's. I'm trying to find that article and I can't.
Yeah, and he basically he didn't necessarily He didn't necessarily say anything that was horrible, but the way he said it was something that a lot of other people have accused people like us and Doomcock and others of in the past. That really kind of gets under your skin is when somebody says, "Oh, you're just predetermined to hate it," or "You're predisposed to hate it," or "You're just watching it because you want to hate it." Mm-hmm. And I mean, he kind of said it in a backhanded way, because he's like, "Oh, people just wanted to watch it to make sure they hated it." It's like, no, a lot of us went in with a lot of high hopes for this show. I mean, you got to understand that, as a fan, people wanted to see the return of this character, much like Luke Skywalker, and to see what they've done to him. I mean, Frakes should understand that from a point of view of a fan, that I guess, but maybe he's just in that bubble too. That's the other problem, we keep talking about, is that a lot of these, they either toe the line because they know they want to eat tomorrow, or because they're just living in that bubble and they're so, how many times have you seen celebrities and other people like, if you support so-and-so, I'm going to cancel you, or I'm going to delete you from my Twitter or block you, or what, it's just stupid shit. It's like, really we've gotten to this point. Yeah, that's a good thing. Tell the customers to fuck off. That works.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, you go through the drive-thru at Taco Bell and you order some nachos Bel Grande, and instead you get something with churros and a bunch of corny shit on top, and it's like, hey, I ordered nachos Bel Grande. They're like, oh, you're a racist. I'm like, no, I just want nachos Bel Grande.
You're
culturally appropriating.
Well, here's some fish.
Well,
here's some fish and some long grain rice, Wes. That's what you want.
Yeah. This POC says that this is what it is, and so you're just a racist because you think that churros and corny shit is not nachos. Like, what the fuck,
Yeah, just random bullshit.
I was so excited for Picard. I mean, I guess I hadn't had the rug pulled out from underneath me enough times, because I really wasn't excited about the Discovery mess. The STD thing could not possibly be named any better. But well, I should, the initials there, but I didn't really understand why less than 2 weeks before the show premieres that they run that article in Vanity Fair and it deflates the balloon right off the bat. And they're doing that so far in advance now of anything they're making. I mean, that seems to be a recurring theme, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and really most recently, like, honestly, Andre would like to kick the guys making Dune in the ass for putting out that stupid Vanity Fair article.
Villeneuve?
Yeah, because he's like, that is totally misrepresentative of what at least his understanding of what the movie's going to be. We got the script, we've read it. I haven't personally, but, I've seen it, so I know it exists and all that kind of crap. I mean, unless there's been some extreme changes somehow, somewhere down the line that Andre hasn't been told about. I mean, there's a lot of people who keep making the fuss. Well, just because it's swapped, that's instantly a no-go for me. That's it. I'm not going. It's like, all right, that's fine. You can live that way. You can be that way. But just remember, sooner or later, these things are going to keep going. And this might be one of those instances where it really doesn't fucking matter in the grand scheme of things. And we're all going to, just be sitting here not enjoying this movie, and another franchise is going to go down the toilet, all because we just wanted to turn a blind eye to it because of one thing. And I hope that that's the one thing that, like, doesn't kill this whole thing. Like I said, and Andreas said it too, if we go see the movie and it sucks donkey balls and it's woke as hell, we'll be the first ones to tell you. But going into, like, Joker and stuff like that, none of us wanted to see it. We thought it was a dumb idea. The trailers made it look shit. Go to see the movie, it's completely different than what you're expecting. So, like, we love to be pleasantly surprised by things, but if we keep closing ourselves off as fans, we're going to be accused of jumping at ghosts, which is exactly what we're doing all the time. And that could be exactly what they did that for. And I said this to Andre, too, about this whole female Star Wars thing. He's like, I'm like, what if this is just put out there to make us jump on this just to make us look bad? He's like, yeah, that would be possible if it was an actual official announcement, but this isn't an official announcement. So there's more going on here. But yeah, under normal circumstances, if this was an official announcement, I wouldn't put it past them just to do this, just to make us look bad, just to make us look like we're jumping at ghosts and shadows all the damn time, too, to prove their point,
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Wes. No, absolutely. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, I think that maybe the people that are making the trailers and doing the publicity should be making the actual goddamn movies, because I'm remembering when all of the promotional material for The Last Jedi came out, and I was like, I want to see that movie. So if you get those people in the editing room, once
they
these
did for
films are done,
Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay. Well,
Remember, that was the whole thing, was there was two different cuts of the movie, and the one that was out there is supposedly the one that the trailer company cut.
Oh.
And then the other one that was on the extended cut or whatever was Air's original version he wanted out.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Well, so much for that theory then.
Yeah, after seeing both cuts of Suicide Squad, though, I'm still on the wrong side of everybody, because I liked the extended cut, the director's cut that came out when
it is a bit better, I guess. I mean,
the original movie it was missing too many elements to be satisfying. So I'm one of those weird people that I thought Suicide Squad wasn't as awful as everybody else thought.
See, here's the thing. Yeah,
I
going
enjoyed
into
it.
Suicide Squad, it's not a great movie, but it's a coherent movie, I guess, compared to what we've gotten prior to that. So, I mean, I guess I don't get to hate as much. I do understand. I don't like Jared Leto in it, and there's a few things in it that are horrible. But, I mean, after the movie, I was just like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And then everybody's like, this is the worst thing ever after it came out. And I'm just like, whoa, I've seen worse. BVS?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot worse too. It kind of reminded me of like the Warriors with super villains.
Yeah, I kind of had that vibe to it. I see what you're saying, yeah.
I thought it was a good movie for a DC movie, because DC movies had been so disappointing to that point.
Yeah, it was kind of like that kind of thing, definitely.
So in comparison, I was like, well, that's okay,
I thought the acting was, well, except for Jared Leto, was pretty top notch.
Yeah, but that was just the choice of the character. And again, that could have been easily fixed with just saying, "Oh, that's Jason Todd. That's not really the Joker," and there was always this possibility of another good Joker out there. But
That would be brilliant. See, that's what happens when us fans come up with that stuff. We always come up, even off the top of our head, well, most of the time, better stuff than they do, dummies.
Well,
yeah, because I was truly hoping for like what's his face, who ended up in Aquaman, and he played Green Goblin in the original Spider-Man.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. I was hoping for like a Willem Dafoe Joker, kind of almost in the Arkham Knight style, like popping up at some point.
wow,
That would, been
that would be really, that would be
would have
really
been
cool.
good too. Yeah. Well, hey, maybe you still can. I mean, you got Chris Evans, who played both Captain America and Johnny Storm. So
yeah, but that wasn't in the same the same movie series. But yeah.
oh yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the only problem is they already cast him in fucking Aquaman. It was like, oh no.
If Heath Ledger hadn't passed away, would Nolan's Batman arc have pretty much defined Batman forever, and there wouldn't have been able to make additional Batmans? Do you think?
3 would have been a much different movie. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Because I really feel like he lost the desire to do that third film after Heath passed.
Yeah.
The film itself is horrible. I've only watched it, I think, twice. I'm not a fan of Batman Rises or whatever the hell it's called, Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
It has its moments, but it's like you let us and build us up to this. It's just like
Yeah. It was so Go ahead.
It was weird. It didn't feel cohesive. Like he's really just gonna. I mean, he's Bruce Wayne's really just gonna become a shut-in for years and years and years. I mean, I don't buy it.
Yeah, all the events leading up to that are just like, huh? And then you have what really I think probably was the biggest piss off to me anyway was you have this perfect world you built up, and it's I liked the idea that this is Batman, but it's in the real world, so there's none of this supernatural element crap. There's like the stuff we got in Batman and Robin and so on, where when Bane was made, it was like a wacky cartoon or anything like that. We were supposed to be dealing with real world villains, and besides Joker, who fits in the real world better than anybody other than Penguin and Riddler, and
Yes.
of course Catwoman. And
Yes.
I mean, these are your main trio besides Joker that we love to see on the screen, and together. I don't think they have been since the old Batman series. And so I mean, outside of Batman Returns, I guess you can kind of count that with Catwoman and Danny DeVito's Joker, or Danny DeVito's Penguin. But no, it would have been neat to see, like, because I thought they were kind of setting that up, because you had the mayor, a whole bit with him in the second film. It's like, okay, set it up to where because it's always a popular storyline to have Penguin run for mayor, and just to see kind of a Riddler in Nolan's world would have been killer. I mean, I think he would have ate that. I mean, that was where I was like, why did you go to this? It's like your natural element, Nolan, was Riddler, and you go to this. It's like you could have probably give us a really cool Riddler, somebody who actually is a challenge for Batman. I mean, they kind of got the Riddler thing with Batman Forever, but that was just basically Gorshin's Riddler updated, is all it was.
Yeah, I mean, he really did define that role. There's no doubt about it. And when you had, Rubberface guy. Oh my gosh.
I was not saying Jim Carrey's version was just
Thank
Frank
you.
Gorshin's updated for now. Is all it was.
Yeah. He spent so much time, adding more comedy to that than I was even comfortable with. In fact, I didn't like how comedic they made those films. Once we got after, you had a really good mix with Keaton and Nicholson in the first Batman movie, and what's his name's version of the Tales, but
Burton.
Yeah, Burton. Thank you. But I thought it got even darker in the second movie, and I completely tapped out when Schwarzenegger was Dr. Freeze. I hate to say that.
Let's kick some ice.
Well, that was stupid because first of all, I mean, Batman and Robin is a pinnacle of what you don't do with a Batman movie. I
Yeah.
mean, like, first of all, you're gonna have Bane in this movie, and you got Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Mr. Freeze. What's wrong with this picture?
Yeah.
First of all, and then you waste Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy.
Yes.
I mean, if there was a better casting choice at that time, I couldn't think of it, and they wasted her. And again,
Yep.
why was Arnold Schwarzenegger not playing Bane again? I mean, if there was anybody in the history of movies that was probably tailor made for Bane, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger at that time. Because he kind of is Bane.
Yeah. Victor Freeze, he's just like frail, nerdy scientist guy.
Right. Picture Rick Moranis, maybe somebody like that, but Arnold Schwarzenegger? What?
That was rough. I mean, and maybe they just needed more draw for that movie. It's not like they didn't have enough stars in it already. Oh wait, no, they were okay there. It's just frustrating.
Schwarzenegger's Bane would have been cheesy, but come on, he pretty much embodies what Bane is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, look, I'm right there with
I'm
you.
gonna take you back, Batman. He would have said that, but it still would have been better than, it's a hot cold down on the hot town tonight.
That's true.
God,
yeah, that
so
wasn't
bad.
good. I have hope for the new Batman. I'm very excited, and I made a video for that about that. I'm kind of pumped up because I think we're going to get back to the heart of the character, which is being a detective. And I think that it's been a long time since Batman's been a detective.
Well, we got some of that in Dark Knight Returns, but some of it felt kind of forced too.
Yeah.
So or Dark Knight, whichever one, the second one.
Yeah, the second movie.
And he did
Dark
do a
Knight,
little
yeah.
bit in the third film, but not much.
No, it's not. It's not like anything before. And I think if you want to get back to the character we grew up with as kids, or in comic books and stuff like that, even before the Burton movies were released, because that's the problem. Is everything that I'm seeing when it comes to the comic book movies, it either is going to feel authentic or it's not. And any of these rebooted comics that try to mimic what the movies are doing just are almost offensive to me. But that's me. I mean, I'm an old dude, so there you go.
Well, it used to be the comics would kind of do their own thing, but they would incorporate things that, like Harley Quinn's the perfect example. She originated in the cartoon series. She was adapted into the comics, and now she's one of the most beloved characters in the Batman pantheon, or however you want to put it. I mean, once in a great while, you'll get lucky like that, but that's a rarity. And Batman's one of those that he has the greatest rogues gallery, hands down.
Yep.
Like, there's no other comic book character that's got enough bad guys that are on a first name basis with America than, like you say Bullseye, a lot of people are like, huh? Who? You mean from Toy Story? No. I mean the bad guy from Daredevil. No, I have no idea who you're talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you name some of Spider-Man's bad guys, people can name about 3 or 4 of them. You ask anybody Superman's bad guys, they get lucky if you can name 2.
Dr. Octopus was one of my favorite Spider-Man villains because I'm weird. Green Goblin was okay.
No, Spider-Man has like a comparable list to Batman.
Yeah, I mean, I see, but this is the other thing. So many of those villains crossed with other superheroes as well, like Sandman.
Right. It depends on who you really kind of associate them with. But when I think of Spider-Man, I think of Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, all the big ones, Venom, so on and so forth. Same thing with Batman. Even though a lot of these characters showed up other places, of course, you think of Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler, and so on. And it just you associate those characters with, them. But even though, they do pop up other places. I get you.
Doesn't it feel, and I'm going to ask both of you guys this same question. Doesn't it feel like Batman is more about villains that could actually exist in the real world, or villains that don't require a supernatural path?
Well, they seem sympathetic to me in a lot of times. It's just people that have undergone tragic circumstances the same way Bruce Wayne had, but they just aren't billionaires like Bruce Wayne a lot of times.
That's kind of part of it. You could look at it that way. the original inspiration for Batman was basically film noir cranked up to 11. You know, you got, instead of the hard dick, you got Batman. Instead of the kooky villains, you've got, you know, the Joker and so on. And what is he? He's a hyper version of the gangster at the time.
Yep.
You know, so they're, and same thing with Penguin. You know, they're both very similar to these gangster style roles that were popular, or not popular, but I mean, I guess you culturally significant is a better way of putting it, in that era when Batman was created. And yeah, I mean, he's just the idea of he could be just anybody. Just the fact that he happens to be a billionaire or millionaire at that time, Bruce Wayne, and can facilitate this shit. It was kind of the interesting points of it. But in the end, anybody could be Batman. Anybody could turn into the Joker. You know, and then as you got down the line and his rogues gallery started to grow with him, and they started to get more in this whole idea of, well, he's a bat and he's, what kind of guy would do this kind of thing? And, you know, they start getting into the psychology of Batman. And that was past the family days. Like, you know, you got through the 50s and the 60s with the family stuff. Then in the 70s and stuff, I think when like Denny O'Neil and all them guys started coming onto the scene, they started really getting into the psychology of who Batman was. And I think even Denny O'Neil, speaking of, I think one of his quotes is, "I wanted to give Batman his balls back." I mean, it was like, yeah, so you had this idea of where you guys are talking, where it was kind of like, you know, what kind of world would spawn a Batman, but what kind of world then would Batman spawn? You know, and that's really the kind of question, is like, okay, Batman's a cause and effect of just random senseless crime, but then because Batman comes on the scene, that's what I love about Nolan's Jokers, is like, he basically, you created me, you know, it was because of you I exist, you know, and that's kind of the whole point, is if it wasn't for Batman, then these other guys wouldn't exist. So it's this, you know, and they kind of even ask themselves that in the Avenger movies. And that's where sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know, sometimes the Marvel movies do tackle things that people ignore. And that was one big thing, is like, okay, well, do these bad guys exist because the world's bad, or do they exist because the superheroes exist? And that's a big question that really kind of plagues, you know, I'm sure even Bruce Wayne in his own mentality, because he's just one step shy of each one. Like you said, each one of these characters is so damaged, and they're comparable to Bruce Wayne in so many ways. But you look at Bruce Wayne, it's like, oh, he fits right in with any one of his villains. The only thing that really is different between him and these guys is he's not, you know, he's out to stop these guys, and he's not one of these guys. That's the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always felt like Batman existed in the world because of the crime that he saw injustice. He existed
Right.
in the world. He saw injustice. It wasn't countered by any of the methodology or law enforcement that existed, and so because he was
big part of
personally
that was
affected.
that the law enforcement was so corrupt in the original, you know, because at that time it was, with all the gang activity with, you know. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, you're going down the same path I was, Tom. I mean, honestly, that's why I connected so much with Nolan's first movie, because it's just like, oh my god, this is what would make a Batman, you know, this, and
Yeah.
again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the Star Wars stuff. We have character here. We have a character.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like the world portrayed in Batman Begins a little bit more than The Dark Knight. I think it still had a little bit of you know, comicness to it in Batman Begins, and in Dark Knight, though it's a fantastic movie, you know, it made it look almost too real, but it is a fantastic movie. I love them both.
I mean,
well,
but right there, yeah. Sorry.
No, Tom, go ahead.
I mean, right there though is like, I mean, on one level you have the Batman Begins or whatever, which is straight up a great comic book movie, just a great all around comic book movie. To me, Dark Knight took comic book movies to an entirely different level. Like, it took them on that Godfather level. I mean, the Joker now gets so much praise, but I really feel like the Dark Knight got so screwed out of all the Oscars it deserved. And I mean,
Yes.
the praise it should have gotten and the notice it should have gotten for, I mean, I haven't watched it in a couple of years. I don't know if it holds up, but I watched it, God, I don't know how many times when it came out, because I was just like, this is the greatest Batman movie ever fucking made. I can't argue that. I mean, hands down, beginning to end, everything they got right. Not only that, they got the Joker 100% spot on. I mean, nobody's been able to do it since, and nobody really could do it before that.
Yeah.
But with for some reason with Heath Ledger's Joker, Nolan got the character and Ledger got the character, You know, everything's a fucking joke, and if I can make you a hypocrite, that's my only fucking goal. And that's pretty much at the core what Joker is. Nothing else matters. You know, it's kind of like this whole thing with Batman is like, it's this tit for tat, his obsession with Batman and the trying to make him a hypocrite in some way or bring him down to the criminal level. Because that goes back to what you guys were just saying. Is, you know, that's one thing Joker was, you know, that stops Batman from being a Joker is just that one kind of rule in this instance. But in most cases, it's just his morals, you know, within whatever story you're looking at Batman. And that's the only thing that differentiates him from the scum that he's trying to get rid of, basically. Yeah.
Did you feel like they wasted Two-Face?
No, I thought he was actually well utilized. I think it would have worked. I honestly, if I had my druthers, I wouldn't have introduced Two-Face in this movie. Yeah. I would have just had him. I would have set it up for part 3 to where, like I said, that's what really gives you that kind of play. Well, okay, you've got this. Okay, the city's kind of been eradicated of these major bad guys now in the first 2 films, right? So you set up Harvey Dent as the White Knight of the city, the Penguin coming in trying to take over power in the city and bring the criminal element back into the government, which is what Batman just did, is got it out. And, you know, then you have the Riddler at the same time fucking with Batman on the side, distracting him while allowing all this other shit to happen. You know, you got to be able to. I just think Nolan just kind of went into that third movie going, oh, I just got to make it. You know, I don't think he really had any kind of goal in mind at that point. Anything he had in mind went out the window when Heath Ledger passed away, unfortunately, because I do remember him talking about the Joker being a big influence in the third film kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that was the only reason he left him alive, was so he could be in the third movie.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of what he was setting up. Not exactly what I was saying, but something to that effect. That, yeah, Batman has kind of succeeded, which it was kind of the opposite. You kind of look at most trilogies, and by the end of the second film, our bad guys are in a bad position and everything's horrible. No, actually, Batman saves the day, gets rid of the criminal element. The mob's been run out of town. What else could you have happen in the third movie but everything that Batman has accomplished go completely belly up? Yeah. And that's where I think Nolan was kind of going with it. Well, I think that was his plan originally anyway.
I mean, that...
Yeah, the concept of
that conflagration of all... Yeah, that conflagration of all of those villains and all those different story elements at the same time would made for probably the most memorable. Oh wow, I'm losing my camera. Did I lose my voice too?
You boxed out a little bit, but yeah, it would make total sense. Like if, like, let's say the Penguin became mayor and he would release the Joker, you know, that kind of a thing and stuff like that, just to fuck with Batman even more, you know. Just because he can, you know.
Yeah, or maybe the Joker. The third movie could be about the Joker's trial and how all the evidence is getting thrown out because it was collected.
That could be too, and that could be, you know, and then that makes Bruce lose his entire, you know, and that would also play into Harvey Dent a bit more. Like Harvey botches the trial.
Yeah, because,
like that's a great idea there.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about it before Dark Knight Rises came out, and I was like, ooh, if they have the third movie be about the trial and just, you know, how the trial is botched and Joker gets off that way, Joker wins. I mean...
That would have been much better. And it actually would have fit more in with our society because the kind of character Joker is. And maybe that's what scared him off, too, was the whole shooting in that fucking theater that night. Even though it had nothing to do with Batman or Joker, maybe that's the direction he was going. Because that's the kind of guy Joker is. Like, it's all about me. Look at me. I'm the one doing this. You know, that's the kind of mentality this guy has, is the same mentality of the guy who does a tragedy like that. You know, the mentality they suffer from, the narcissism, they don't care that they did something tragic. They just want everybody to see it was them that did it. You know, and Joker, that's what he was. And you're right. I mean, that would have been a perfect setup for a third film and play right into today's society. Because you're right. You have two sides of it, too. At the best both worlds is you can, not only is it like the mistrial kind of situation, but you have half the city going, well, wait a minute, Batman's the real villain here, it's not the Joker. You know, and you have this whole back and forth and the Penguin feeds into all that shit, and oh yeah, it could have been amazing. and I hate to say it, but you could have had fun with the Penguin in a way, kind of made him a Trump kind of like character, with kind of how he's boasting things and, just I hate to say that to bring a political element into it, but I mean, if you stop to think about it, kind of how Trump kind of came in and won the election, that's kind of how you could have played with the Penguin coming in and winning a they call a re-election on the mayor or something like that because of all the shit that happened in the last movie. You know what I mean?
A recall election, yeah.
Yeah, a recall election, and Joke and Penguin just kind of sneaks in there, and he's just playing all his little games behind the scenes and all that kind of shit. But he's getting the people of Gotham on his side, and he's convincing the people that the Joker was misrepresented and all this other crap. Batman's a real villain and blah blah blah.
Yeah, operating outside of the law and vigilantism and all that stuff. And
the reason we
knows the truth.
Guys like this Joker is because of this Joker Batman.
Yep.
We got to Mary.
We do, and there she is. Hey, Mary.
I realized my mic wasn't plugged in. Hi, guys.
Hey, thank you for joining us. Are you excited about the Batman talk we're having right now?
So I literally just got here. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh, we were talking in depth our favorite Batman movies, and pretty much everybody's landing on more of the Nolan stuff than some of the other things. But
what's a good one that nobody ever talks about is Mask of the Phantasm.
That's a good movie.
Wait, is that the cartoon one?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the one that has Peter Weller in it, right? Wait, no, that is not Peter Weller. It has Neil Patrick Harris playing Batman, Robin, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I know it is the animated version. It's got of course it's got.
It came out.
Oh wait, never mind. I was thinking of Beneath the Red Hood. Sorry, forget it.
No.
It's the Mask of the Phantasm came out in '93, I think it was.
It's the basic cast or whatever. It's done in the animated
It's basically the animated show, the movie.
But but it's
okay.
legit. It's legit. It's about as Batman as a Batman movie has ever Batman. So it's just legit.
If I remember right, it's kind of loosely quite a bit like The Long Halloween or something like that. I can't remember which story it was loosely kind of similar to. But yeah, I mean it was one of those movies that came and went. It didn't make any money in the theater.
Yeah.
And then like Roger Ebert of all people brought it up when it came out on Laserdisc. And he was like, "You have got to see this movie. This is the best Batman movie this year," and blah 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 blah. And so I think that was the year that, maybe it was '94 it came out because I think it was on video at the time Batman Forever came out because they hated Batman Forever and like that was the way he set it up was basically if you want to see a good Batman movie, watch this, instead, kind of thing.
It's as Batman a movie as anybody ever Batman. It really is.
But I mean, stylistically, I'd go with. I love the styles of Batman '89 and Batman Returns. Like, I mean, that aesthetic. I mean, especially that first '89 Batman, really kind of captured the Art Deco darkness that everybody kind of associates with Batman now, kind of.
Full disclosure, I am waiting on a phone call, so I do not know how long I'll be here. So if you hear my phone ring and I dip out, it's nothing against you. It's that I'm just
sure. Now that you're here, I got some work I got to do soon. I was going to be like dipping out since you're here, but I'll wait till you're done with your phone call.
Yeah, no, you guys, you guys, I appreciate you being here and spending your valuable time because believe me, as somebody who's trying to make videos regularly, I know how valuable time is now. I had no idea.
Man,
that rendering process can be kind of brutal sometimes.
It's bad when you don't have good internet. I don't have good internet. Freaking Windstream. I hate you, Windstream. But like it's one of those things, man. It's always hard to catch up, but don't ever let anybody treat you like their time is more valuable than yours. That would be a very shitty way to behave. Sorry,
No.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not monetized. I've got 103 people that are here, so that's okay.
Oh, you picked one up, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm growing every day, one at a time. So, but no, honestly, I never thought I would grow this quickly, and it's all because of you guys, and that's honestly why I'm here, because because of you. You guys got me here in the first place. I know, Tom. I mean, honestly, I've been watching you guys for a while. So,
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
from
Yeah, I
time to-
remember
you know,
seeing you
you
in the chat for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then and I have multiple accounts that because I have different devices in the house, so I'll like stream like people like in various rooms of the house so that they're getting watch time. I'm trying to get Mara Jade, to her monetization, so I've got her streaming in the background all the time. So and again, I mean, being a fan of everybody and then just being able to hang out with you, I honestly feel like I'm sitting on my couch, and everybody's having a drink. That's what's so great
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
a pretty glorious ordeal. I remember when I first came in, it's exactly the same. It's that notion. I'm a fan of these people, right? I watch these people. I watch Midnight's Edge, watch Geeks and Gamers, and I was a fan of these people. And I remember being so incredibly starstruck when I first got to meet Tom and got to know him. And I was sitting there sort of spazzing out, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
And then she regretted it.
I regret everything. No, no, but like you get to a point where you're like, you're just chilling out and you realize that they're just people. Everybody's just people just like you or whatever. And you get to have a good time and enjoy each other's company. And then Tom will come in and pull the freaking amazing performance that he does out of his butt like he did last night. He just comes in out of nowhere and then slides into shenanigans, pulls this amazing thing off and then dips out, and I immediately have this insane appreciation for him again, because sometimes you forget how amazing these people you work with are because you're too busy having a drink sitting on the couch with them. So
Yeah, it's funny. And then I wake up and I watch OG Star Wars in her coffee chats. I almost never miss those unless I've got work stuff going on. So it's just one of those things. You're like, honestly, it's like walking into a coffee shop, every couple of hours talking to a group of people, and at least you're not going crazy, right? Because most people agree, right? I mean, it seems.
Well, and it's not necessarily that. I mean, I and that's great what you're saying. Like, but we don't always necessarily look for an echo chamber either.
No.
That's the thing is like it's great to hear opposing ideas and
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace, even though it was built off the idea that The Last Jedi sucks, we won't turn anybody away who necessarily likes The Last Jedi. It's all about being open to the conversation or the idea of difference, or accepting that other people don't like. I mean, I said last night, and I'm not joking when I say it. I mean, I was part of the original Phantom Menace back with the prequels. I mean, and the difference then compared to now is I don't remember all this fighting. I don't remember this name calling and backbiting and bullshit. If you and I walked into each other and are like, oh yeah, we found out we're Star Wars fans, and did you see the Phantom Menace? And you'd be like, oh yeah, I fucking loved it, and blah 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 blah. I'd be like, yeah, I like Darth Maul and I like this, but otherwise I wasn't too turned on by it. It'd be like, oh, that sucks. That's too bad that didn't work out for you. That's about as far as that conversation would generally go, other than maybe going with like the other person going, well, what would you change to make it better? And then the other person would listen and go, oh, well, that's a great idea. Or, I don't know, I kind of liked it the way it was. And that's about as far as the conversation would go. You wouldn't get this knockdown, drag out bullshit with people calling each other an istophobe by the end of it.
Well, nobody does anything hateful. Right? I mean, or did then. I mean, now, I can disagree with you. Believe me, I have. And there's some, there's some takes that some people have that I'm not in agreement with, and I'm a weird person, like I said. I mean, I thought Suicide Squad was okay. I didn't. Well, at least the director's cut or the extended cut. And there are going to be people telling me I'm an idiot, and that's fine. I'm an idiot. But I enjoyed that movie, and it's okay. You can enjoy something I don't enjoy. I like the original Battlestar Galactica series, but I also like the new one, and I'm terrified of what they're going to do on the third one. So I guess we'll just see.
Yeah. Well, we have a plethora of opinions that span the board on a bajillion different things in this community, right? We don't all line up on everything all the time. Chris Knight's a really great example of that. He's able to enjoy The Last Jedi. He's able to sit down and view it and see it for its own thing and legitimately enjoy it. And as much as that makes me want to vomit, I respect the guy, and I do respect his ability to disentangle himself from the other stuff and take it as what it is, right? Because he's a genuinely good human being, and he's always been respectful to me, and we've always gotten along really well, right? Jay's gonna watch a horror movie later. I hate horror movies. I hate them so much. Right? Like we're not the same people. We don't have groupthink. We don't run around and do nothing but reaffirm one another in their opinions because we're not that fragile, right?
Yep.
But it's so that's super important, at least in terms of not living in the echo chamber, right? We don't have groupthink. We do tend to agree on basically one thing, and that is get your politics and your agenda out of our entertainment. That's it.
Right, and I think
Yeah.
that goes right around to what I was saying. The reason I think we fight now is that specific reason, is because they're jamming their politics into our entertainment. It's causing us all to take sides, because it's like, obviously, well, if you're in this groupthink and you're in this specific group of people, well, then you have to like The Last Jedi, because if you don't, then you're obviously one of those people. And that's really the kind of thing that I think really permeated and started this whole, they can sit there and talk about the toxic fandom all they fucking want. I don't remember fighting with people like this until politics got involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't there that saying, like, you don't talk about religion or politics, right?
That's the way I was raised. Even in school, it was like the teacher would test us. We had, like, even in like third grade, when you do the fake little election, and the teacher go, well, who did you vote for? And so would say who they voted for. And it's like, oh, keep it to yourself. That's your secret. Nobody else is supposed to know. Blah, blah, blah. They would teach you, like, you're not supposed to talk these kind of things outside of the family, or what kind of thing. Not necessarily even family.
Well,
because they're polarizing.
Yeah.
Because it's an ideology thing, right? It's this kind. It's when you pit ideologies against ideologies, you're going to wind up with a powder keg, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows that you have a powder keg when you do something like that. So in order to live in a civil way, you keep your politics to your damn self, right? Because that's your worldview, your ideology. That's part of your worldview, right? And so it's one of those things that you don't shove down everyone's throat, because you recognize that it's different from person to person. And because it is so important to people, you tend to want to fight for it if you start shoving it out there and down everybody else's throats. And so it was a good mantra. Keep your politics and your religion to yourself, because those things are sort of sacred, right?
Well,
so
I kind of disagree on that point. I think that we should be able to discuss politics and religion, and you should be able to ask a question and come to understanding, at least,
sure,
on where somebody comes from. But you don't even get that from certain people out there. The echo chamber we're talking about. If you even ask a question, it's like, you're a racist. I'm like, wait, I'm just asking a question about why is it important to have, why are you putting, a person of color, as you say, or a woman front and center? Why is that the first? Okay, why is that the first thing? Why is that important to you to do that?
Because they're not white.
Exactly. And instead of, why not, I've got a great character. They grew up in a village. Their family was slaughtered. They're hell. They get raised by monks, and they're hell bent on revenge. If you say it that way, who knows what the character is? Character could be a man, a woman, an in-betweener, whatever.
An in-betweener.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Chick with a
No,
dick,
go ahead,
you
Tom.
know.
I was just going to say, it's ironic that today is Alien Day.
Yeah.
And
Alien Day?
it is. It is Alien Day. It's LV26. 426 or whatever is Alien Day. But
Oh, okay. I don't know.
yeah, it's a long story. Anyway, but the reason I bring it up is Ripley. How they talk about how we got to fix this. There's problems in Hollywood, and there's got to be more inclusivity and all this other crap. It's like, just write more stuff like Alien then. That movie was written to where each and every one of those parts is interchangeable. They weren't meant for a man. They weren't meant for a woman.
I don't think that's a good idea either, though, Tom.
Well, no, but I mean, in most cases, though, unless it's something that you're specific, unless you're writing Robin Hood and you're just writing your own brand new thing, if you're that worried about it, that's the thing is, this takes me to the whole fucking Leslie Headland thing. Unless you're telling, she's like, I want a black writer on this. Okay, well, what purpose does that serve? Okay, if you want to tell a black story, then go out and find a filmmaker who already wrote that story because they lived that story, instead of trying to find somebody. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, what's she doing, like driving through Oakland? Hey, any black writers out there?
Exactly my point. It's like, not only that, why don't you just put out there, whatever. You'll get 20 black writers in 10 seconds. They'll be like, look, I've got a script, and it's already written, and it's from the black perspective.
I think
But
it should
instead
be
she's-
all of it, though. I really think it should be all of it, Tom. I think that there should be movies that are that ambiguous. Movies like Alien, where
Well, my point is I'm saying yes, you can do that by finding somebody who already wrote that story. But if you're writing on Star Wars, Aliens, anything like that, then it shouldn't matter what color anybody is in certain positions unless they're already already made up characters like Luke or Leia or something like that. If you're going to do something new, it shouldn't be your first priority and goal to make them a woman and of color. That's my point is I'm getting to is it shouldn't be your first predisposed fucking thing to be like, this is my goal with this. And that's what that fucking announcement, if you want to call it that, was all about, was this is a female centric Star Wars. That's the main thing. And we've got this diehard lesbian who's going to be running this thing. And if you listen to her, she's got some spicy takes on stuff, but she's here to shake shit up, folks. Now, on any of that I just said, did you get out of what the new Star Wars show was about?
no, I don't know anything about what they're planning to do with that.
That's my point. Nobody does. Because why? Because the most important thing to them is what's between the legs of the fucking main characters.
Yeah.
And what was bringing me back around to Ripley is in certain situations like this, or if you don't have pre-established shit, don't box yourself in by saying this must be, a half black, half Asian midget, and we can't have anything more than that. If we don't have that in here, then this movie's not going to work. No, if you open it up, and who knows what's going to walk in the door, and that's where I think they're really boxing themselves in. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You want a transsexual person to play this part? You never know who could walk in that fucking door. But you are completely, boxing yourself in, and not only creatively, but on the screen, because you're saying that this specific character has to be like this, with this, and the whole thing that's important is what's between their legs and the color of their skin, not what's on the page. And that's what I was getting to with Ripley is it doesn't fucking matter who she is, because on the page, she is anybody. It doesn't matter who the character is on the screen until it gets to the screen. The fact that we got Sigourney Weaver and she played that character to the hilt is the reason why we love Ripley to this day. Now, it's a little different if you're coming in and you're writing for Ripley. Now, if you're writing for Ripley, then, of course, your first thing should be, well, we should have a strong female voice here. Well, then that's a little bit different. Then you're tailoring something in a way. It's like you want to tell a strong female story, well, then maybe get a strong female voice. But that doesn't mean that's the only voice you have. But that doesn't mean you necessarily go, well, it has to be a black woman. It's like, no, okay, well, yeah, we narrowed the field down a little bit. We're going to look for a strong female writer, but we didn't say if she's Asian. We didn't say if she was black. We didn't say if she was Hispanic. All we said is we want somebody with the female perspective. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's what you're getting to, I think, Mary, is that once you start narrowing things down, once you start putting things in boxes, it's just as bad as what they're trying to say Hollywood is. And I really don't think it is on the screen, at least. Maybe behind the scenes, but I don't know about you guys, but I have no
behind the scenes.
And here's another thing. Do they really believe what they're saying? Over in the Trek wing here, look what happened to Walter Mosley.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to scoot. I'm getting a call. I'm sorry.
I'll stick around.
Mary, you were great.
Bye, Mary. Thanks for dropping by. Always a good combo.
Have a great stream, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if she'll be back.
No, but that's okay.
It's
She's
good to have
great.
her as long as she was here.
Yeah.
Hey, but I have somebody that's bouncing in here, and Mr. Yellow Shirt himself. Hey, Memes.
Hey guys, what's going on? How we all doing? I heard Tom mansplaining to Mary, so I felt that I must white dragon knight my way in here. How
I
we all
don't mean to
doing?
do that to that poor girl.
No worries, but I heard the term of politics come up, and I overly immersed myself far too much in politics than is likely healthy. But to just bring a counterpoint there, no, Tom, I do agree with you in the respect that just let the best person for the role, because you never know where like the next great up-and-coming performer may come from. However, at the same time, and this is actually a bit of a criticism to a lot of my comrades on the left, is that, let's face it, in general, at least in the United States here, when you're talking about a person, very often you'll use a particular context. If you're talking about somebody that happens to be a minority group, very often it'll preface it with, well, this person happens to be black, this person happens to be Asian, this person happens to be Native American, because if the majority in the people's minds here happen to be this, then that's where kind of like the whole social justice thing comes, in order to just give folks that may have historically not gotten so many opportunities more opportunities. My criticism to my comrades is that very often it comes off as kind of preachy, and that ends up turning a lot of folks off, which is a problem in my opinion.
Well, and that's the direct issue. And not only that, it's just the way, I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying, is like, okay, if Leslie Headland is so gung-ho about telling a black person's story, then go tell a black person's story. Get the fuck out of Star Wars. You know, because that's obviously not where you want to be. You know, it's like, if you want to be in Star Wars, you want to make a Star Wars movie, that's fine. Then the first thing about, you know, what you want to make shouldn't be about what's between somebody's legs or the color of their skin. It should be about, is this a good story? Is there a reason why I'm here telling this story? And if I'm not, then I should go somewhere else like Gilmore Girls, where I'm going to be better utilized. You know what I'm saying? There's a place for it. You know, there's a place for things like the Harvey Milk story or whatever, you know, that's fine. Make movies like that. Nobody's stopping it. We need more original entertainment. Why aren't these people doing that? Rian Johnson should have never made The Last Jedi. He should be on Knives Out 6 by now. You know what I mean? It's like, don't mix peanut butter and fish. It just doesn't, you know.
No. I think they do have a good peanut style topping. It likely goes with Ritz crackers. I'm just making that up out of my butt.
There is peanut butter chicken, but not fish. So there.
you can put
Makes
pine
sense.
nuts on a good salmon fillet.
That's a little different, but yeah, no, I'm just
No,
saying.
I'm
My
kidding.
point is, you know, yeah, they kind of go together, but they don't, and that's where, like, yeah, Star Wars has politics in it, but it's not what it's about. You know what I mean? And yeah, Star Wars is about empowering characters, but it's not just about empowering females. You know what I mean? Like, we brought it up a million times on a million different podcasts, how they talk about, in what world did Star Wars need stronger women than it already had? Leia is one of the most anti-damsel in distresses you can find. Yeah, she's being rescued. That's the point of the movie. But before she gets captured, we see her tell Darth Vader to go screw off. Then when she's talking to Tarkin, she's like, kiss my ass. And she sits there and watches a planet get destroyed in the process because she is not going to give up the plans. And then when the rescue happens, she takes over her own goddamn rescue.
Yep.
Like,
Oh shit! Well, she saved Han.
Even before that, when her ship's being boarded, she's right there with her blaster blasting away, man.
yeah, and she's like, some rescue. You know, it's like she doesn't even make it she doesn't even pull any punches there. She's telling them flat out, you guys suck, I'm taking over.
Oh, I mean, how many times did we see Ahsoka save Anakin?
Yeah, I've never really watched
Yeah.
the show that much, but
haven't.
yeah.
No. Yeah, it happens dozens of times. It's one of those things where you're especially if you read any of the books, it's one of those things where this is not a new thing in Star Wars, but it can be done so much better. You know, and here's the thing, Tom, in Wes and memes, I'm going to tell you right now. If I go in to pitch the story idea that I have that comes from a piece of literature that I'm in love with, that I'm not going to talk about, because the minute you read this book, you're going to be like, this should be a movie. This is 10 movies or 10 seasons of television. I'm not going to go in there and do anything but tell them all about the story and the character. And I'm not going to once mention any type of pronouns or any type of politics that don't serve the story, or any type of religion that doesn't serve the story. If it doesn't serve the story, why do we care? Why is it in there? How is it helping? But there's no way you're going to go into a pitch meeting and say, well, the girl that got the Harley Quinn movie, her sizzle reel, it still blows my mind. How did she get that job?
I haven't watched Birds
She's
of
talking
Prey
about
or
the
anything.
director, yeah. Well, that was one thing where, like, it's too bad Mary's not here because I can make her apologize to me again. Or say I'm right. Because between her and a few other people we got into it about, like, I'm like, that movie is nothing but man-hating pop propaganda. And it's not even fun. And they're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'm like, where do you say it's not that bad? Name me one character in that movie that's a guy that's good. That's not completely inept, a complete asshole, or turns on her for no good reason. And she couldn't, except for the sandwich guy. And I said, outside of the sandwich guy, of course, was my only one that I said, you got to leave out because he doesn't count. because that's really the most pitiful of parts in the entire movie, and that's the only part a guy gets where he's painted in a decent light.
Oh, I like sandwiches.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The sandwich
but
thing
she
was
even-
kind of fun.
But she even puts him down too. She
Yeah.
even makes fun of him right off the bat and makes fun of his appearance and shit. So like I'm saying, like that's okay for her to shame him in that movie and make every other guy a piece of shit. And like I said, and I got, it got kind of heated, and I got to the end, I'm like, you can't tell me there was an agenda. Because by the end of that movie, when I walked out, I felt like a piece of shit for being a guy. And that was, I feel like, that movie's agenda. And then lo and behold, 2-3 weeks later, the director comes out and flat out says, my whole agenda was to prove that men are nothing but assholes. Basically, in so many, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing now. but-
That's the thing, man. It's like you can tell a good story, and it's like, and you know what? If you want to highlight certain things, you can absolutely do that, but don't force it. Because if you're trying to force anything, then it doesn't necessarily work well. Because I remember we were talking about, what was it? I think it was on Thomas's birthday stream, like Avengers and everything like that, either Infinity War or Endgame, but basically where you happen to have all the gals there, like the Avengers assemble and stuff like that. It's like, hey, ain't nothing wrong with some girl power and stuff like that. And it seems like more of something that was done well, but I think a lot of folks within different communities kind of took that almost as an insult, given the current meta and many other things being forced. And that's the problem you run into. If you start trying to force things, then people are looking for it everywhere, and something that may have been a more inspirational scene maybe like 10 or 15 years ago, now folks are overly criticizing it, saying, oh, well, you're just trying to like put guys down, even if that wasn't the point. And so now we're dividing folks even further rather than trying to come together, and that's a problem.
That's 100% right, and because honestly, and this is something Tom keeps trying to tell me is going to be okay, is Dune, because that's another thing I wanted to talk about today. I'm worried because it seemed like perhaps it's a misplaced tone deaf thing, and about a character that maybe I was too invested in before because it was played by Max von Sydow in Lynch's movie. But I don't know. I mean, Tom the other day, clarified to me that maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, and I probably am, because of what you just said, Memes. I think we've been so divided on these things for so long.
Well, and that's what I was kind of saying about jumping at shadows and shit like that earlier too.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, and Wes talked about it in a couple days ago on one of his live streams.
Yeah.
And it's totally understandable. It's not like that knee-jerk reaction. I mean, everybody has it. I had it the first time I heard it because we reported on the race and gender swap months ago. We knew about it. And again, like, it could be something that goes really bad, but I think that this Vanity Fair article is going to cause more problems than it's going to help, for all the reasons we've talked about. And like, it was just like it didn't help the Birds of Prey when you had Ewan McGregor and other people going out there going, yeah, women power, blah, 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 blah. Same thing with Charlie's Angels, and, and telling the fans on Terminator that it's going to scare the F out of, misogynists. It's like, what did you accomplish with that?
Way to flop a movie, dude.
Yeah, they killed it. Yeah. Here's the
Send
thing, though.
Drunk the link. He wants to come in.
Does he?
I don't know if
Drunk?
he does. I can.
Oh.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, if he wants to.
I'm
And
always
I
trying to
can't-
drag him into shit.
Hey, I drunken robots are my favorite thing in the world. So, no. Shoot, I'm derailed now because Drunk is. I'm starstruck because Drunk's coming on. Most handsome man on the internet. He's about to if he joins us. That oh my gosh.
I don't know. He joins like maybe 1 out of 5 times I send him a link, so we'll see.
All right. Well, if he doesn't, it's okay. I mean, I might faint. So maybe it won't be great. Anyway,
You hear that, Drunk? They want to fawn over you. Get in here.
He's the handsomest man on the internet.
Yeah.
Memes is right up there, though, dude. Look at that glorious beard. Holy cow.
Oh,
But anyway, yeah. No, so let's go back. I did not make a video about Dune when that story hit. I don't know what it is, but I held myself back from doing it because I was upset. I was enraged because it's something another monster said right here is absolutely true. I mean, the Dune is a female centric story. I mean, they kind of from the shadows control everything, and they do it around a religious type of a feeling, and that permeates that entire franchise. So maybe I shouldn't have, and thank you, Tom, for making me not freak out about that, because it could have been very,
think
very, very bad.
Drunk
I
says
see
he's
him.
backstage. Oh, okay.
He is. He's coming.
Jay.
There he is. Oh, he's not on
Hey,
camera.
Drunk.
I'm not gonna get any female views. What's going on?
I just kind of wrote.
Come on, Jay. He needs the fat material here.
I don't even have my camera set up.
I know. I was picking on you.
Wow.
No, you're fine, brother.
You're getting the
fine.
voice.
You're
You're
here.
getting the
Oh,
voice. Okay.
We didn't end up with hungover 3PO instead of drunk 3PO, did we?
No, I'm in the process of writing like a book, and I get started on it, and I don't realize I'm not started. I'm at the end of it, so I'm like doing all this edits, and I don't realize, the time gets away from me. So it was like 4:00 in the morning, and I was like, holy crap, I need to go to bed. So yeah, it was one of those things. But I had you guys on, and
Hey.
just listening while I was like cleaning the kitchen and all that stuff. So you're making the time go by a lot quicker.
Ye old quarantine
So,
life.
Oh, thanks.
You guys are crazy.
You
And
can
listen,
come
I
clean my
don't think
kitchen.
you can find a clip of me saying anywhere that I'm the most handsome man on YouTube. Somehow that got started, and it just
I think Jeremy started it.
Well, I-
kind of took a life of its own. So it's funny to me every time I hear people say that. So,
Well-
but I appreciate it.
I'd like to thank Culture Casino because I would be cleaning my kitchen right now if it weren't for the live stream.
Somebody
I'm
can
happy
come
to
clean
avoid
my
it.
kitchen, please. I suck at
good,
it.
It's good conversation though y'all are having here. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. So,
Well, the big thing is, it's like there are plenty of instances. It's like take Leela from Futurama and stuff. That seemed like a very strong female character that solved a lot of
Yeah.
problems and stuff, but it didn't necessarily come off as preachy. And I'll always go back to Jumanji. Yes, they came out with a second movie. The second movie was all right. The first one, the remake,
Awesome.
I think it was pretty good. And you want to know what? They straight up within the game did race swaps, gender swaps, this, that, and the other thing, but they did it well. And I don't really remember hearing many people complain at all about it.
No.
No,
That
that was
movie
one of
was-
the bigger movies that year. Yeah, it actually
Yeah,
was
it
the
was-
reason Last Jedi didn't do so well.
Well,
Yeah, it
it's
was
like,
perfect.
It's like Nicholas Meyer said on the commentary for Star Trek 2. You can kill Spock. You can do anything you want as long as it's done well and it makes sense.
Yeah.
You almost sound like him. That's what's eerie.
Whoa.
Oh,
I was really
talked
getting
to him
into it.
before. I mean,
Really getting into
you
it.
do like the same timbre in your voice, and all you do is get kind of laid back. That's what he's more laid back.
I'll try.
Yeah.
He's
And
like
it-
the smartest man in the room, is what he acts like.
He's kind of like that ninja that's just like, what's that guy doing? He hasn't done anything yet, and all of a sudden he just powers up and just goes.
Yeah, he's
Well,
a little
I love
higher
how he
energy than I am.
I love how he'd
There's-
answer a question when I'd ask him a question, because it'd be like, you ask the question, and then he'd take like,
Oh, that's right. You guys did an interview with him.
and then he would like, take that breath for like that space there was the nothing there, and then he would just boom, and you just like all of a sudden you'd have all this crap on your table. Because that's the way he
Or
was,
the
man.
reflection in memes of Destruction's glasses. I could see his whole setup.
Yeah.
And
At least it's
yeah,
not
you
as
can.
wee.
Yeah.
I'm literally talking into a closet right now. I have the lights
Yeah,
here and
that's right.
everything, so...
Yeah, that's right.
awesome.
Keep your hands
Yeah.
up. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
I love
like
the bubble backdrop there. I like the little
It's
gel bubbles.
bubbly.
That's kind
Yeah,
of cool.
Culture Casino's production value makes me really self-conscious about how crappy mine is. so-
Okay.
Dude, I have the worst production value of anybody in here. So if I can make it, anyone can make it.
I have to say this, guys. This is really important. Our setups, every single one of us, those of us that participate in these live chats, those of us who are fandom menace, some of people here probably aren't, but we have higher production values than most of the people that have been doing this, the Hollywood people that have been doing this from their homes for the last 6 weeks. It is, I know memes, I know, but it's
People
true.
might start catching on. It's like, wait a second, what's the difference? Well, not
Yeah,
much, it
we
seems.
know what we're doing. No.
It's so funny seeing them without at least a USB mic. I mean, come on, guys. You can afford a USB mic, and it's echoey, and then they don't have any talent either. They don't have their YouTube voice. It's I find it hilarious.
Well, it's weird because they aren't being fed a lot of material, like they normally are. There's not usually a teleprompter or anything like that in their setup. They're not used to just talking to a camera with nothing in front of them. There's that improv isn't up there, which you would think. Well, a lot of them come from Hollywood from way back, and you would think that would be there, especially with guys like Kimmel. But yeah, I mean some of that stuff's done. Anyway, I'm not tooting. I like to toot everybody's horn, but I'm going to date myself here because I want to visit this strong female characters discussion just a little more. And do you guys remember the Romancing the Stone movie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Sharon Stone, right? Wait,
no, it was
Sharon Stone? No, it was Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and that particular film, that's a strong female character. So I can go back and give you hundreds of examples of very well written, strong female characters that kind of lead the adventure. Because she led that adventure front to beginning. Same thing happened in its sequel, Jewel of the Nile, which wasn't nearly as good a movie.
No,
But
it wasn't.
No,
There-
that's a great point. Yeah.
Females have been leading movies forever. Tom just talked about it. Princess Leia took over her rescue and pretty much everything else from that point forward. The boys did things. We all fell in love with Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, but the greatest tragedy of the Disney trilogy, gosh, listen to me speak, was that you didn't get all three of them on the screen at the same time.
Yep, it was very huge wasted opportunity. And just to go back to your point there, Culture Casino, of so the two biggest grossing movies of 1939, I believe, were female-led movies. You had The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy,
That's
and
another
you had,
good one,
and you had Gone with the
Gone
Wind.
with the Wind. Yep. Yeah. And then even go back to King fucking Kong. Fay Ray is the lead in that movie. For Pete's sake.
The argument
Breakfast
is
at Tiffany's. Can we go on forever?
so
We can, those dummies can't.
the interesting thing about the Disney Star Wars is how they dealt with Rey. And so I did a video on this not too long ago, but I have a niece who loves the Rey character. She's third grade, and when she was in third grade when The Force Awakens came down. So we're Star Wars family. We all went and watched it together. She liked Rey for what it was, but even now, when she wanted to get like a picture of like with Rey at Disney World, like you can't even go do that. They keep Rey like boxed off. But you can get a picture with any other female character, any other movie, anything else you want, you can. But for some reason, Rey is just kind of rude in Galaxy's Edge. But also, it's like they didn't give Rey like any other reason to like her. You look at Princess Leia, you did the comparison. Return of the Jedi, she saw her team in trouble. She just jumps on a speeder bike and didn't listen to Luke. Like Luke's like, wait, Leia, wait. And she's just like, nah, I'm in charge here. I'm taking care of my team. I'm out, She's the only one that the Ewoks didn't want to eat because she's that powerful, okay? Ewoks wanted to eat the dudes.
That's because she gave Wicket chips.
That's how smart she is, though. Come on.
Oh, it's gastro diplomacy.
And then, but what you got
It's
with Rey?
Rey.
Rey has
Have
the same
one.
costume in every. She wears the same thing in everything. She does
Yeah,
everything
she's a waste of
the same.
fucking
And it never gets dirty either, does it?
Which totally goes against what I mean. Even George Lucas was thinking ahead of like things with like Padme back in the day. The reason she changes costumes so many goddamn times in the first movie, well, it goes along with her character, but it's like, oh, because it gives the girls something to look at, and plus I can make 10 fucking toys.
Not only that, but even Princess. So what they did was really, and I don't know, this could come out terribly wrong, but the Princess Leia character, she's in her bikini outfit, which appeals to us young boys at the time. We're like, holy crap, that's hot. But also appears to the strength of the character when she kills the biggest crime lord on Tatooine while in her bikini costume, not needing a rescue, saying, I got this. Y'all go do your lightsaber thing. I don't need no lightsaber. I could use what I got. I'm going to kill the biggest crime lord, and then take care of my business. And it just you know, it was incredible how she was written. And then like you get to Rey, and it's just like, let's just make her God, then everyone will love her, and let's tear down all the characters that we do love to raise her up, and everyone will love her. And it's just like, no, it's not how it works. It's not how it works. We didn't have to tear down any character to build Leia up to who she was. None. You didn't have to do that with Padme. You didn't have to tear down a character, you know, to build her up. She was badass at who she was.
It was like, getting appropriate chemistry together. Sorry, I cut you off there,
Padme had a freaking plan in the Phantom Menace to take over her kingdom, you know, and she was what? How old was she in that film? Allegedly,
like
she was
14.
Yeah, I mean, she was the one that had the plan that put it all together to take over. She was also the strongest one in the room that wouldn't sign the freaking treaty. She was also, I mean, you just go on to like this strong woman that started at such a young age all the way up in these films. And then again, you get to Rey, and it's just like, let's just make her God from the beginning and not explain it, and they'll love her for that. It's like, man, do you not watch the other films? And yeah, exactly. Like Aliens, I agree completely with Tom. I think Aliens would be a completely different film if it wasn't Ripley, if it wasn't Sigourney Weaver, if it was the guy. It would be more like a Commando film if it was like Arnold or, you know, Sylvester Stallone during that time frame. So it's like to see Sigourney Weaver in there, just like no train, but just kick ass, man. Like freaking, it was beautiful. And there was no backlash. There was no like fandom menace group. You know, how dare a woman be the lead? There was none of that crap.
Not only that, she was right.
Who doesn't love Vasquez in that film? Vasquez was freaking awesome in Aliens. Like that character was freaking awesome. You know, and her one-liners were so perfect in that film. Her freaking one-liners were awesome.
She confused my genitals, drunk. She confused my genital.
That one-liner where the guy's like, "Have you ever been mistaken for a man?" And she's like, "No, have you?" Was like beautiful, man. It was beautifully written story. Oh my gosh.
Well, it was banter. It was done well, and I fear we've gotten into a term that I've seen around the internet stuff and things is wokenism, and that's the thing. It's a combining. It's you're trying to be woke, but then you end up tokenizing certain characters, and then that's how it became wokenism. And that's the point where you just end up pissing off everybody. It's like you got folks that like are saying, "Oh, you're trying to go too woke," so you're making them kind of angry. And now the folks that are actually woke are saying, "No, you're just tokenizing these characters. What the heck are you doing?" And I feel like it's a trap far too many have started to fall into.
Yeah, but that clip that I posted on Twitter that got me a little too much attention, maybe from John Campia's show with Aaron Cummings. Aaron Cummings she's as far leftist as left can be. But I agree with her where she was just saying, like, don't make this the selling point that it's female driven. Hey, come watch this show. It's female centric. Come watch this. It's a female lead. Like she was even saying, like, you've already turned off a large percentage of your audience by doing that alone. So they're turned off. Then the second one is like, if she made such an amazing point where she's like, if the show fails, people will just say, look, it's because of women. And now you've started a whole other program. And she's right. The show could fail from any other reason, but because you want to push it as a female-centric lead, that is what everyone is going to see. And then that's how they're going to grade this and rate this and do all these shows. And it's like, I don't get why
that's because she's not stupid.
Do this.
She sees it for what it is, and she sees what they're doing and the damage it's causing. She sees all you're doing is like, okay, all you're doing is causing anybody who has a good idea for a female-driven film is going to get tossed out the fucking window in 2-3 years from now because, like we keep saying, eventually the money men are going to come around and go, where's my money? You know, you can't keep making these crap movies that nobody's going to go see and expect the money men to keep coming. That's not going to happen. They want their money back. And the superhero movies and Star Wars movies and Terminator movies, things like these used to be sure things. They used to be things where you could guarantee your money back and then some. And I get where she's coming from on that. I mean, of course, it's what we've said a million times over, but she's exactly right. And it's great and refreshing to hear it from somebody with inside the industry, especially putting John in his fucking place, no matter how butthurt he wanted to act because you put the video together drunk. Nothing you did in that video does anything more than show what he deserves, and that is that he's towing the fucking company line for all these studios. It's like, fucking stop it, John. Knock it off. You're better than that.
You know what happened,
that's
right?
what she did.
John responded to me.
Yeah.
And so this is the funny thing. John responded. Did you guys all see that tweet? I assume it. One of my viral.
I never got to
tweets
see the tweet. None of us have gotten to see the tweet, as far as I know. That
no,
I've
I
talked
mean
to.
mine, the one I posted.
Oh no, I might have seen yours, but I never got to see his tweet that he tweeted at you.
Yeah. So what he did was he took the video where I got the footage from, re-edited it down to a minute where it's just him talking, all his highlights of his positive critique of, you know, female and all that stuff. So basically he cut out everything Aaron said. He cut out his man baby part and put in all these positives. It was a really bad spin. And so basically it just tried to make him look like the hero in this whole thing. So he put that on, and then he was like, you should have used these clips instead. You're misrepresenting me. You're nothing but he said a BS artist. And, you know, and he posted that, and I was like,
So he cut it down so he could mansplain.
I was
Campy is
asleep,
calling
like
other
Jeremy and like Justin Proper. They were all texting me like, dude, he's responding. Like, what do you want to do about it? And I was like, what? And then he put me on his pinned tweet. He was like, this a-hole is a BS artist, blah, blah, blah. He's like, he's misrepresented. He pinned it on his Twitter, me. All right. So I was like,
somebody must have told him to take it down, though. I wish somebody got a screen cap of it.
I was in the middle. Stupid me. I should have, like, we all should have screenshotted. I didn't, because I didn't think
that's rule number one in this world.
An hour. He took it down in like 40 minutes because I'm trying to type a response. And I'm like, what the freak? He kept saying tweet not available, tweet not available. I was like, oh, dude, the guy, I was like, the freaking guy took it down.
At that moment, you should have hit back on your phone and seen if it was still there and screen capped it.
Dude, I did. Plus, it was like, for me, it was like 3:30 a.m. in the morning. I'm like tripping over my own feet, like up. And so I was like, well, it just shows what kind of person he is, and it is what it is. And listen, he had every right to come back and criticize. Every right. Listen, I put his stuff out. I was waiting for a rebuttal, no problem, and maybe we could have a conversation or whatever. But when you get to the point of name calling and trying to tear a person, listen, I didn't say anything negative about John. My tweet says a tale of two opinions. That's all I said. I didn't say John was an idiot. This was that. I didn't say any of that.
No, he didn't like it because we all came in there and we all said it.
Yeah, so he came to me. Now the issue was there were huge YouTubers out there that I'm not really accustomed to that sent me DMs and were like, I'm going to use your tweet and I'll promote your Twitter, whatever. And I was grateful that they reached out. And some of these women, like there's one YouTuber, she's got like, I don't know, like 4 million subscribers. She did a thing on it and stuff too. And I'm like, why don't you go after her? Because she ripped him like no one's business, you know? And like, I was like, go after her. She's the one calling you all the names. I didn't even call you a name and you coming after me, I guess because I was the root of the problem. But
he's seen you as an easy target. That's why he thought he could intimidate you.
Yeah, small YouTubers. And then I think he found out I was like part of Geeks and Gamers. I think that's why.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he knew once the moment. I'm sure somebody goes, dude, you do not want to start that fucking war. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, that's going to be fucking with Fandom Menace, and you don't want to do that. And he's going to be like, oh, I'll take it down. Just like, okay, I should.
It's a good impression.
I shouldn't take. Oh, I can do a Campia. I shouldn't say this, but one time I was watching and somebody happened to super chat in saying, did you see the whatever Midnight's Edge video? I don't even remember what it was about at the time. He's like, Midnight Edge? I never heard of them guys. And then like 2 days later, next day or whatever, we had R&B on, Robert Meyer Burnett, and we told him, and he's like, he said that? And we're like, yeah. He's so full of shit.
How dare you say those things about me, Tom? How dare you?
J3PO is a lying
John
BS
the
artist.
Daughter of Collider. It would be nothing without me. My show is nothing. You guys would have nothing to talk about if it wasn't for me. How dare you? How dare
That's right.
you?
My name is John AMC Collider Campia.
But what would you fellas just touch on right there? It seems like Drunk had basically become the avatar of basically frustration at this point, because we all know Drunk is known for his extremely salacious hot takes. So
Yeah, I mean, oh dear God, it was a lot funny. But listen, thank you for inviting me on. I've got a watch party to do in an hour.
Okay.
We're gonna do Aliens. I didn't really do watch parties on my channel, but I was like, I got nothing better to do, so I'm gonna grab a couple people. We're gonna watch Aliens since it's Aliens Day and just do commentary through it and just have a fun day Sunday.
Well,
And then
well,
I'm playing Mario Kart later.
I'll probably pop in Drunk because in 15 minutes I'm going to be out of gas. So
No worries,
Yeah,
going
man, check out
way
Hey,
longer
thank
than
you.
I thought.
Yeah.
Way
No,
longer
thanks
than I
for
thought.
the
2 hours
for
is
the
a
love,
nice round
man.
number.
Thanks for the love. I appreciate you guys. And
Yeah,
Tom,
no.
always great conversation, man. Keep the conversation going. It's the only way it's gonna infect change. It really is.
Yeah.
So, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.
All right,
Yes,
see you,
Drunk.
Drunk.
Don't forget your facehugger face mask.
I seen one of those. I almost bought one.
He's so
I know. They look cool.
he's
They're
so
awesome.
great. I that was if he would have been on camera, I probably would have swooned. It would have been awful.
He's a good guy.
Um,
Yeah, I got to check out pretty soon too. I should have been editing all this time, but
all right.
Well, hey, we
Good
could
conversations.
Well,
Always
Tom,
a
wrap
good
up
thing.
whenever.
I mean, I can hold
Okay,
out for a
well,
few more
shoot,
minutes
I'm
if you
trying
guys
to
are
lose-
gonna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you guys are
All
gonna check out here soon, I can stick around for the end. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it in 15 minutes or less. So yeah,
All right, that's good.
I'm hungry. I need to cook my meals for the week. All those lovely things that have to happen on a Sunday.
No, I literally had my thing. I got up for this because I remember you saying something about this, and
Oh, Tom, I appreciate it so much. You have no idea.
you're lucky
Again,
I remember because I have a horrible memory, and I always tell people to keep reminding me of shit.
Yeah,
for
no,
reason.
I woke up and I thought today was Monday, so that tells you how bad I am.
I wished it was.
And I'm trying to maintain the office from home. That's really hard. It's really, really hard. Everybody's working remote. It's terrible, but oh man, but I appreciate you all. You guys have no idea. Everybody that's here, that's been a part of the stream, everybody that's watched today. I really appreciate Ryan Cannell, Drunk 3PO, Mary Mayhem, Tom, Rob, Robot Shlomo, Wes, Ames. You guys, you've no idea. You got me here. You got me here. I wouldn't be here otherwise without any of you. So
Well, we're just regular
every-
schlubs, and we can only get people so far. Whether or not you continue on from however far we can put you up on the thing,
Well, if I'd like to someday be big enough I could get Jeremy on a stream. That'd be a lot of fun. Or maybe Andre.
You might be able to do it if you insult him enough.
Jeremy's
Yeah,
a lot like me. It's more or less if he's got the time, and he knows you or whatever, he'll pop in.
Yeah. Well, I
Andre's
insult him
tough
regularly.
because of Andre's tough just because of the time difference and that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you know Jeremy and if you've messaged him and talked to him and been friendly, he'll come on if you ask him. It's just a matter of if he's available. That's the main thing. He's a very good dude.
Yeah. Oh, I know. He's amazing, and his persona is perfect. What he does is perfect. He just cranks his attitude and personality to 10. That's what he does. But yeah, and then someday, maybe I'll meet Gary at a coffee shop. Pete's or something. Say hi. So,
Yeah, Gary's a pretty good guy.
Yeah. Anyway, guys. Yeah. No. I like I said. Everybody that's been involved in this community, whether they agree with me or you or anybody at all. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, everybody has a different take. You're allowed. I mean, you're only gonna get attacked if you call somebody a name or you punch down. I mean, it just.
Yeah.
And I think Wes and I were talking about it the other day, or maybe it was you and me, Tom. But I sometimes with some of these movies and these people that are bringing these shows out, sometimes I feel like I'm punching down on them because they really don't they have to not understand what they're doing to culture, to pop culture, to properties.
Sadly,
that are
I
beloved.
think it's even worse as they do, and because I think this Leslie Headland thing is a clear. I mean, we've had some confirmation in the past, but especially that Variety video where she's talking to Variety, and then she lays it right out there that this is their agenda, and specifically her agenda. And it's not the first time we've heard that. That's the sad part. And Yeah, I know I probably shouldn't have, but I've said it enough times now. But he's talking
Well,
about the
what they
Campea
seem to
story.
not be aware of is that their agenda is hateful and that they're embodying the very things that they claim to be railing against.
Right. That's where the ignorance comes in. That's where the what's the word I'm looking for? Ignorance does well enough. It's
Cognitive
willful
dissonance?
ignorance. Yeah, cognitive dissonance is another good way of putting it. They're really you got to after a while start to ask yourself, are they really that oblivious or what? And we're starting to see cracks. Like the Aaron Cummings thing, like Jay said, she's as left can be, and she's somebody calling the bullshit. Hell, I even got to give Bill Maher some credit. Guy's been coming out a few times and been knocking it out the park with a few things he's been saying the last few weeks. Especially, these other celebrities who are coming out and saying, wait a minute, knock this shit off. You guys are being way too pretentious, way too full of yourselves. This is not the time to sit there and make it about me. I mean, there's some really cool celebrities out there doing some really entertaining things right now for people, and they're being overshadowed by these idiots like Madonna and the whole Imagine business, and Ellen is another way. And honestly, I don't like to see cancel culture in action. I don't like to see people fall, but you know what? Ellen's one of those people that I feel like that's a good place to start with. It's not so much they need to fall on their face and be canceled, but some of these people do need the rugs pulled out from under them because they're just too full of themselves, and they do need a real fucking reality check. And unfortunately, they're going to learn all the wrong things from this pandemic. Because when you got somebody like Ellen who's trying to say, oh, it's like prison in your fucking big ass fucking mansion. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like
She also happened to hire a non-union crew and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
there's a whole
for
bunch of
this
business
and
with that, yeah.
and it's not a good look. Not a
if
good
you
look.
want to go down that rabbit hole, there's plenty of videos out there covering it. I know Mecca's done some. I think the Quartering did one. She's got herself in kind of her own mess right now, and this is where I kind of like to see it. It's like I don't like cancel culture, but if somebody's stupid enough that they're going to end up canceling themselves, that's just natural selection, baby. There's nothing you can do about that.
Well, they're
if you-
isolated. Sorry, Tom.
No.
Ahead.
I was my finishing point was I was just gonna say if you're smart enough and talented enough that you got yourself to that point, then you should be smart enough to know when you keep your mouth shut. Otherwise, you deserve to kind of fuck yourself over in the end. Sorry, that was all I was gonna say.
No,
there's
I
that
was-
too, Ryan. I never liked her.
Yeah, but honestly, the reason that this is happening is they're not surrounded by their publicists, their stylists, and all these other people that handle them. They're handlers, and they do handle these people because if otherwise they will say dumb things. They will do dumb things. I mean, look at athletes. You're on a football contract, and it says specifically no risky behavior. You're out, skydiving. You're out, playing basketball. You kill your knee, and you're a running back in the NFL. That's dumb. You blow out your hip, and then you get a giant contract anyway, and now you're worthless to everybody. That happened in LA. So, but it like I said, I mean, they will self-destruct themselves without guidance because they've never had consequences. They've never been accountable for their actions or their words. Or
Right,
anything
and not
else.
only that, these same handlers on the other side are doing more damage because they're constantly. Because here's the thing: actors, they want attention. So if they don't feel like they're being, like pampered constantly, then something's wrong. So, like you said, they're cushioning them on one side from the damage on other. They're protecting them from themselves on the other, and then all the while feeding them full of the biggest bunch of horse shit they've ever heard. You're the greatest. You're the best. You're the GOAT. There's never been any better. Blah 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 blah.
Now, I have a question because I've heard a more recent theory, and I'm curious what all you gentlemen think about this. It's that I think in an attempt to try to promote what individuals feel is the right side of history and everything, certain folks have kind of gone out of their way to help bring certain folks on to do things, but at the same time, while they're doing it, and this goes into a little bit what Tom was saying as well, that some folks are just afraid to voice an alternative opinion for fear of maybe getting attacked from everyone else. It's kind of like being the zebra without the stripes. And in the time that this has gone on, things have kind of progressed to a certain level, and then it just kind of all gets caught back and forth, where if you have certain folks on the internet kind of going after those folks, everyone's getting distracted about all these little skirmishes on the Twitter, on the YouTubes and stuff like that, rather than focusing on what the initial goal was, and that might lead to almost some of this tokenism in some cases, as some may see it. I don't know. What do y'all think?
Oh, there's definitely tokenism, but yeah, you're definitely, at least from my perspective, you're on the button pretty much for the most part. Only it's already in full action, full swing. It's not even a theoretical thing. We're living it right now. I mean, I've seen it from both sides. I've seen the one side where they'll flat out say that I won't work with somebody or I won't do anything with somebody if they're a so-and-so supporter or whatever. And I've seen the other side where they say, I'm afraid to speak out or I'm afraid to say this or that because I know I'll get canceled. I mean, and they'll use those exact fucking terms. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty sad when, even I could say, look, I could say the wrong thing right now, right in this moment, and I could get canceled quicker than shit. Like, and I could do that. And I could say, one of many things in this very moment that would just be blasted all over Twitter, and I'd get fired and nobody'd want to listen to, me ever again. You know what I mean? I could do that. And it's not that hard to do. It's so much harder to regain yourself from something like that than it is to screw it up. And that's the thing. A lot of these people on that other side, it's all fine and dandy because, like you said, they think they're on the right side of history in certain aspects until they're the ones being canceled.
It's like we need some forgiveness. What do you guys think?
That's a big problem. That's definitely a big problem. I mean, there's certain people, perfect example, not to get too political, but he is entertainment related. Al Franken. Look how he was railed by his own side and, the whole eat their own business. If anybody deserved a moment of forgiveness, it was somebody like him. There's certain other people. You could even make an argument for people like Roseanne.
Yep.
I hate to say, but that's the problem is like we've lived in this society where one thing and you fuck up and you're done. You're done. You're over with. And the sad part is all these people that are canceling said people, they probably got just as bad or worse skeletons in their closet. So that's the other thing is, and then it becomes a game of whataboutism before the end anyway. And it really just gets to a point where it's like, when did we just stop being people instead of our mistakes and our pronouns and our skin color and all this other bullshit?
We're all being boiled down to, or distilled, that actually is a better term. We're all being distilled down to a handful of immutables, a handful of things that we don't control, can't control. We were born with, we're a victim of our circumstances. And that's what we're being distilled down into. And so when we do something that's counter to those boxes, those check boxes that you've been put into, you're going to get called out. And you've said it exactly. It couldn't have been more eloquent, Memes. We do need a way to forgive people. I forgive Wes all the time, for not picking a good whiskey or.
I know. I've sometimes it's all about the daily driver and not necessarily your nice car.
Yeah, and bourbon we trust.
Yep.
Yeah, but honestly, you couldn't have put it any more eloquently, Memes. You nailed it. We're living in a circumstance where people are trying to. Gosh, I'm trying to find the words. Now, I guess be on the right side of history is probably the best way to put it. And the problem is they're on the wrong side of it. They just don't know it yet, and they haven't known it for a while. And again, it's because of the things we were talking about, how they're isolated and they're protected. We call it the stiff arm of love, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help. So,
well, and the only, not to sound like, because we could be ignorant and wind up on the wrong side of history too, just as easy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not as oblivious to that, but the difference here is it's glaringly obvious when, you're screaming at the sky naked and the other people are just kind of like, but that doesn't make any sense. It's really difficult to try and say, it's not like it's close fight here. It's not like I hate to put it that way, but you know what I mean? It's like, and it's just because it's crossed the aisle. I think at this point I think that's what's going to be the end of it. And I think that's where we're gotten to is it's not going to be a political thing anymore. Cause a lot of people are just going to be like, look, this is just a common fucking sense thing at this point. You know what I mean? You got such stupidity on both ends of the spectrum that you've got enough people in the middle that make up this middle side that are, they lean conservative, but they're not diehard conservative, or they lean left, but they're not diehard left. It's a lot of these people that are just going to be like, you know what? I've had enough of this shit. And they're going to put both sides in their corners, I think, eventually, and just be like, sit down, shut up. You guys are the problem. Most of us are normal. You guys are abnormal, that kind of a thing. You're taking things to extremes. And again, I reiterate, it is on both sides. People talk about TDS. It does exist on both sides. You can hate me for saying it, but it does.
It does.
And
right.
Again, I think at some point in the middle, people are just going to be like, shut the fuck up about it all. We got a problem we got to deal with. Let's not worry about who is this and who is that. It just gets sickening.
Yeah, I think we kind of can shut it down, guys. I think we can just leave it there. I think we're rounding out on a good note, and
beware the Drew.
Beware the Drew.
Yeah, beware the Drew. Absolutely. But in all honesty, I really appreciate everybody being here. You guys you made my day. You made my stream. This is my very first live stream. The very first time I hosted anything.
No way.
Yeah. Very first time I hosted anything. Yeah, no, I go on with other people, but this was out of love. This was for everybody who decided to subscribe to me, and if they wanted to be here, that's great. Plus, you guys, you have no idea how much I appreciate the people that showed up to be with me today. So, you guys want to plug anything before I sign us out of here, or no? Wes, you want to go?
Yeah, but Gal Gadot's working.
Sure. You can catch me at youtube.com/WesMoodyWebcast. I talk about pop culture, current events, occasional conspiracy theories, occasional car talk. I will vlog about whatever the heck I want to because it is my webcast. Sub to me there.
All right. Let's do memes next, and we'll save Tom for last.
All right. Guys, if you want to find me here on this YouTube stuff and thing, you can find me at YouTube/The Memes of Destruction, on the Twitters at Meme Destruction, or on the Pornhubs at Memes of Destruction.
Right. Yeah. Memes is fun to follow everywhere. Very entertaining. Twitter. I think you kill me every day. I don't know. All right. Hey, Tom, I think you have a little channel or something.
Yeah. I might have a channel on Pornhub. Or no, I mean, just kidding. Of course, you can check me out on Midnight's Edge After Dark, and I hang out all over the place because I'm always lurking and I should be working. So there you go. Congo. That's for Parrothead.
Well, guys, I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up. You really do make a difference in my life. I hope you all have a great day. Wash your hands. I do this every video. Wash your hands. Take care of yourself. Take care of those around you. And even take care of the people you don't like very much. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. And bye.
See ya.
Peace out, everybody.